Hi there, everybody. Welcome on in. This is CNF Cruisin' Family Cruise Show. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Uh, this is a special time. Usually we do these on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Uh, but we have some unavoidable traveling that we're doing, and will not be available at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. So I didn't want to skip a week. Um, so decided to come on during the day. Uh, I work in my actual job. This is my hobby. My actual job. I work in education, so I'm enjoying my last days here during summer break. If you know us, you know that we live in Arizona, and it is royally hot out there right now. So, but if you're coming in right now, if this is your first time, say hey in the comments. Today we're going to be doing a couple of things. I'm going to be talking about shopping on board. We'll do some general cruise talk. But thank you guys so much for showing up. And if you're here, leave that comment down below so I can say hey. And how is everybody's day? How is everyone's day? Um, I live, like I said, in Arizona. It was 118 here yesterday. So you know what I did yesterday? I stayed indoors, kept the door closed, the blinds down, trying to keep in the cool air as much as possible. I know it. You have air conditioning, but even at 118, it's hard for those ACs to keep up. We used to try to keep our air conditioner down around 70 or 71. It's just impossible for an air conditioner of our quality. We're told that if you have a different seared air conditioner, you could get a lower. Uh, but with what we have, like 75 is cold. So probably should be around 77 in our house, but um, hopefully everybody's staying cool. And during the summer, I know that we like to be outdoors and hot. Hopefully you're outdoors and hot. You're able to put your feet in the sand or in a pool. um, but let's go ahead and get things started here. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit of shit. I'm gonna roll my talking ship video here. So here we go. All right, let's talk some shit. So today I'm going to I like to start off every video with a shout out, either to somebody that's contributed to our channel or does a great job on YouTube. Um, if you guys have been around, if you're a West Coast cruiser, you may have seen this guy's videos. His name is Hani. He runs the Beach Life, which is you got to put in but Hani with the Beach Life does an awesome job of showcasing the West Coast, specifically out of Long Beach or Los Angeles. Um, he he'll go to Catalina, show lots and lots of different things there. He has relationships with people there. He goes into Ensenada and showcases the things to do there. So a lot of times people are like, "What do I do here? What do I do here?" It's not a traditional, like, if you're used to cruising in the Caribbean. Ensenada is its own animal, has its own kind of quirks to it. So if you've ever cruised into Ensenada, drop a comment about your favorite thing to do there in Ensenada. Um, but he has I think he has some friends down in Ensenada that he goes to and hangs out with. But he does lots of great tours, and does a great job of running a Facebook channel, and has all sorts of resources there. So if you're looking for it, Hani, the cruise, the beach life, on YouTube, does a great job. I've taken some of his tips and implemented it. Talked about it on my own on this channel as well. But there are lots of YouTubers out there. So um, you know, if I didn't mention you this week, thank you. Thank you to everybody though that has come onto our channel and subscribed to us. Later or earlier this morning, um, our channel surpassed 6,000 subscribers. It may not be there now. Somebody might have unsubscribed, but we're right around that mark. So I want to say thank you to everybody that does come on and subscribe, and really big thank you, big heart. My daughter can do it. She shows me, but something like that. She's not here, so I shouldn't hurt myself, strain myself, right? Um, but but definitely. Definitely big shout out to just to everybody that has come on and given us support. Hopefully some of the stuff that I talk about is interesting to you guys. I do this all for other people. I'm here, I like to I I to get ready for our family travel. I like to go on and also go onto YouTube and research things. So I trying to give that back to the world. Um, you guys may notice that Cheryl's not here today. That's because she's working. She has to be at work today. And again, we're traveling on. We'll be away on Saturday. So, but I really appreciate you guys jumping in and coming to support right now anyway. So we're going to get into talking about some of the stuff for the day. Um, and if you looked at the you looked at that title and you're like, oh, what is he going to talk about? I'd love to talk about or get into talking about um, the uh, the do's, the don'ts, and the do's, the maybes, and the don'ts of shopping on board. How many of you guys go cruising just for the shopping? If that's you, leave a comment down in the comment below. What is it that you go shopping for on your cruise on your cruise? I know that Cheryl and I have two or three things that we'll typically purchase on a cruise. We didn't do it this year, so I'm not sure where we're going to get the item. When I get to it, I'll talk a little bit about why we do it. Um, but first off, I'm gonna highlight some of the have tos. Right? You're like, oh no, um, I'm not sure if you're in the same boat, but we have to budget for our cruise. So hopefully you guys do well with that. But some of the have tos are going to be things. Definitely a have to in purchasing on board is going to be anything that we forgot, right? Yeah, anything that we forgot, and that's a bummer sometimes when we forget things like sunscreen, things like toiletries. If you're like, oh man, I have to have that conditioner. I can't just do shampoo, or even like over the counter medications like ibuprofen or kids cough medicine. Um, or seasick patches. I I only ever tried out a seasick patch once, and I got sick when I took it when I used it. So actually stay away from that. But I know there are lots of people out there that need those seasick patches. Make sure that like I would say make a list of all of those have to haves, those essential pieces: the sunscreen, the toiletries, the medications, the other things that are going to keep you comfortable in your room on your cruise. And I would say try to purchase it before you get on the ship. Um, those things are not going to be things that you're going to want to purchase on board. Lots of times you're going to get a small bottle of sunscreen that costs the same as like a 3 pack uh, of extra large sunscreens from Target or um, Costco or wherever for the same price. So, um, you don't want to have to go purchase that toothpaste, but if you've forgotten it, that's going to be a have to purchase for sure. And Every cruise ship I've ever been on, they've had at least a small section for you to be able to purchase those essential like toiletry items. So, but be prepared to pay heavily for that missed item or that forgotten item. Um, all right, now let's go from the things we forgot. We're not shouting anyone out. No, sorry. Let's go from the things that we forgot to talking about maybe some souvenirs. So the the top thing that I would say that you probably aren't going to be able to find most places outside of a ship are going to be those branded merchandise items specifically for your cruise ship. So things that say Carnival on it, things that say like Jubilee, or coffee mug that says I sailed on Symphony of the Seas. Those things are going to be those things are, if you collect them or if you want something that says either the brand of the cruise line that you're sailing or the ship specific, you're gonna want to purchase those in on the ship, because you're gonna be hard pressed to find it anywhere outside of the ship. So um, those things are kind of up to you. Ornaments are things that are kind of fun. We've gotten some ornaments and given them as gifts to like grandma. Um, and my son got a cruise ship like puzzle one time before. Those are pretty cool. I've seen that they sometimes they go for quite a bit of money. Um, I'm not sure, but definitely if you're wanting something that's branded towards your cruise line, I would definitely say check that out. Make sure that you go to find those things. When we were on the Jubilee, it was I think the fourth sailing of the Jubilee, uh, fourth or fifth. We didn't book it like that. We actually booked it several months out, and then they had problems with the finishing of the Jubilee. But everybody was all the rage over getting anything that said Jubilee on it, like inaugural sailing. Even though we weren't on the inaugural sailing, Carnival was like, oh, the inaugural season, which the jackets, the inaugural jackets that they had were pretty slick looking. So I wouldn't have minded purchasing one, but I'm a little bit too big, so I wouldn't have been able to wear it. But make sure that it's something that you're like, hey, I want to have this and I'll use it in the future. Or I know somebody in my life that would love to have this, um, and go and purchase that. So I would say this is probably a want rather than a have to have. But if you have to, like if this is something that you really value, then it's going to be that have to have. But for me, it's a want. It's more of a want. Next, let's talk about some of those duty-free items, the ones that you're like, oh, sweet, we don't have to pay tax. At least we saved a little bit of cash, and that's probably those duty-free alcohol bottles or large cartons of tobacco or cigarettes. Um, those items are going to those you're going to pay relatively the same amount, maybe a little bit less than maybe like the big box stores. But it's the not having to pay the taxes on them that is the advantage, and especially individuals that are consuming them at a rate that, hey, this is you're gonna use them within the next 6 months. This is definitely a great place to stock up on. So if you're an alcohol or tobacco consumer, I would say definitely this would be a must-have, but only for those individuals, and not every person on the ship is going to be able to purchase. Obviously, those because they don't meet the minimum requirement maybe of age. Uh, so one thing to note is that alcohol will be delivered to your cabin at the end of the cruise. And if you're flying, be prepared to have a way to make sure that it gets back home. If you've driven, then it won't be that big a deal. Um, and also make sure that you check out what the limitations are for bringing them back into the state in which you're porting. you can't unlimited you can't buy unlimited amount of alcohol or cigarettes. There's a cap on that, and make sure that you know what that is so that you don't get to the end and you're like, oh man, I bought this, but then now I can't bring it back home with me. That would be a major bummer. So check that out. Make sure that you're prepared to know what that limit is. So um, and leave down in the comments if you have like a if you have a type a type that you normally purchase. I know that sometimes in the past we've purchased alcohol. It sometimes it feels like more of a burden to try to figure out how to get it home than it's actually worth. Uh, but that is what it is. And the same thing, like if you buy like if you're in Mexico and you buy like a bottle of tequila, you can check that in. They'll put it down below, and then they'll bring it to you at the end of the cruise. They're not going to confiscate it and then not let you have it unless you try to sneak it on. So know that you can also purchase those items in the places that you're going to. The ship will take it from you, hold on to it, and then give it back to you at the end of the cruise, just as if you had purchased it in the cruise the on the cruise itself. So um all right, so now moving to talking about perfume and cologne. So I said before there's something that Cheryl and I always purchase, and that is perfume and cologne. We use it enough to where within a year we're gonna need it again. So we're not like hoarding it. We actually wait till we go on our yearly cruise, and then purchase what we need for the upcoming year. And it makes perfect sense for us. The prices on board um, are expensive, but if you've been into places to purchase cologne or perfume, you know that it's just a little bit less, and then you're also not paying taxes. Which is the primary reason why we end up waiting till then, is so that we can just avoid having to pay that extra cost for the taxes, and there might be a slight discount on the total amount. For a while, there was a cologne that had stopped production, and I can continue to get it on my Carnival cruises because I guess Carnival had purchased a bunch of it and were stocking it still, but I couldn't find it at like local Macy's anymore, or Nordstrom. So, but the last couple of times, I haven't been able to find it. So I've had to venture out and find a different smell. But I would say definitely this is a must. Like if we're talking about like a must purchase on a cruise ship, I would say this is a must. But if you're not the type of person that that wears perfume and cologne on a regular basis, it's definitely not going to be your must buy, right? That's going to be an extra. Um, so estimate like what does it mean to you, right? What effect would it have on you? So definitely. And if you're there and you're like, hey, I don't know what I want, really check out or talk to the people that are selling the cologne and the perfume and see about like samples. Um, they can let you smell it. They have the little wavy sticks, uh, but definitely definitely if you haven't ever purchased it before, or you don't know what it smells like. Let it settle a little bit. Um, maybe go in, smell it, and then come back a different day. Um, just just so that you know that you're purchasing something, obviously, because when you get off the ship, it's not like you're going to be able to take it back. You know, that sort of thing. All right. Now, moving on to things like jewelry or watches. Um, they have things like Citizen, Invidica, Swarovski. Those things are often sold on board. And I would say for jewelry, really know that you're a captive audience, right? And there are some really beautiful things on board. The people that are trying to sell them, they're wonderful people. But be careful with what you're seeing there, and really discern. Hey, is this something that I could maybe purchase at a lower cost, or is this something that is this really what I like? Um, they definitely have a beautiful selection, um, but for me, I would say this is a definite skip. Um, you know, you might love looking at the jewelry, but if you go into your local jewelry stores around your house, are you gonna find um, higher prices, the same prices, or lower prices than what you're gonna find on a cruise ship? And I would strongly suggest that if you are planning on buying jewelry, that you go and pre-shop like in your neighborhood to see what you could get, see what you could purchase, just so that you're going with an informed decision. And if you find something that you fall in love with, it's definitely meant to be. But I would say, uh, if for me the jewelry is something that you really want to make sure that you've put a little bit of effort into before you go to purchase it, and only buy if you've researched that price beforehand, because you are a captive audience, and they only have a select number of people that they can sell to, right? All right, let's move on. How have you guys ever purchased something on board? Let me know in the comments down below. Our last, my wife and I went on the Panorama 20 2023, uh, and my wife found a beautiful it was a beautiful ring. You know, it was Swarovski, and she just loved it. Like, it wasn't she didn't do any of the tips I just said, but she loved it, and it was an economical price, and it was something that she loved, and we ended up getting or purchasing. So, if you purchase something, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you all. Let me take a drink of water here. All right. Now let's talk about those spa products. Um, if you get if you get a massage or facial therapist, will recommend products that they use. And have you guys ever gone to the spa on any of your ships before? And I'm sure that there are probably different experiences in different cruise ships, right? Um, I would say we have checked out the spa on a couple of different ships. On a regular basis with Carnival specifically, we'll get a phone call sometime through the cruise, and they'll encourage Cheryl to come down. They you know there's a special treat for you down here, and I have purchased like pre-purchased spa treatments, massages for Cheryl ahead of time, and she tells me, you know, Nick, don't do that. Please don't purchase those. It's not worth the money. And if you go on and look at the pricing, it definitely is expensive. And I know that I paid that much before for massage in places around here, like in Scottsdale or somewhere. Um, but comparatively so, she says that it's better to like go into the town or be on a beach and have like a spa treatment. And she specifically is not a fan of those workers that bring the product to her and, you know, tell her all about the product. It feels it feels more like a sales push than anything else. So, definitely something to consider. Um, I know that that Cheryl likes her time at the spa, um, and maybe her experiences aren't necessarily always true, but just go knowing that could also be a possibility. All right. Um, I would, yeah, Cheryl and I did a couples massage. I've only had like a professional massage twice in my life. We did a professional massage on the Carnival Miracle 2021, um, and it wasn't for me. Let's put it that way. But it might be for you. So if you like it, then definitely that could be a, a must do. I would say go in expecting that you may have you may have a conversation about some of the products that they're using. Um, and a simple no is all I've ever had to give for something like that. Unless you're really interested, then huzzah, you found something more to take home with you. And all right, let's switch gears. We'll talk now about onboard photos. And Cheryl and I, we are suckers for those photos. We are suckers for the pictures and all those things. But we always go in saying, "Oh, we're not going to get something. We're not going to get something." We always end up buying at least one of their professional photos from the cruise. Even though we have iPhones, we have a GoPro and DJI camera. we still donate to the professional photo booths that on board. And understand, be prepared that those those photos are going to cost upwards of $20 at least per photo. Looking at like a package, if you're like, hey, I want professional photos, look at some of the photo packages. You can bundle and get just a little less expensive. On Royal Caribbean, there's a photo package. It's 100 digital photos for $200. It's a little bit more than the 50, which is just a little bit more than the 10, which is amazing to me that their $10 or their 10 photo package is like $120, and you feel like that could be a deal, which it actually is. Then if you wait to get on the ship. So if you have self control and can avoid purchasing it, I would say definitely this is probably this is probably something that you could avoid. I know that I wish that we had more self control than what we do. So, um, how's it going, Bill? Thank you so much for popping in and saying hey. Uh, I've just been going through talking about some of the different items that we could purchase on board. Um, all right. Now coming down to something to also think about. Um, are uh, they don't just have photos, but then they also have like the sit down photo experience. We've never gone for that. The photos seems much more expensive, and definitely never been something that we've invested in looking at. I know that I know that there's a time and place for it. I just have never felt compelled to do it. All right. The next thing that I want to talk about with do's or don'ts on purchasing on board is the purchasing extras for food. So when Cheryl and I when Cheryl and I were first time cruisers, the first probably 10 years of our cruising life, maybe 12 years of our cruising life, we were 100% no, we're not going to spend extra money on food on board. 100% said no, we're not interested. That was before room service. You had to pay for room service, like on Carnival. That we never cruised any. We cruised Holland America, but we only exclusively cruised Carnival at that point. Um, and then we we did the chef's table on Carnival Conquest. Um, Actually, no, those 6 years. That was 6 years in. Uh, the chef's table on Carnival Conquest was probably I think it was the first time we had paid for any extra food on the cruise ship. Um, and if you've ever experienced a chef's table on Carnival or any other cruise line, leave your experience or your comment about that down in the comments down below. Um, I know from my experience that was above and beyond anything that I could have ever imagined. Um, the chef's table experience was newer to Carnival at the time. I know that it's been around for a long time now because I'm old. Um, I'm definitely old. Uh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Um, but the chef's table on Carnival Conquest in 2010, uh, uh, we got to do a tour of the galley. Um, they had all sorts of different dishes that they brought to us. Um, I am a uh, I'm an individual with food allergy. I have a food allergy to shellfish and several other items on the at the chef's table were shellfish included. Um, but the entire experience, like every single dish was plated at the same time. They put it down to you in front of the same time. They described to it what it was. They made sure that I had something comparable every single time. This was my first experience ever eating risotto, which I know you're like, what is that about? Why had this grown man ever eaten risotto? But what that was my first time ever eating it. Um, and apparently I'm a risotto lover. Um, so from that time, um, we got into the habit of booking at least one specialty restaurant per cruise. Usually the steakhouse. The first night steakhouse, you get a free bottle of wine, so you don't have to pay for your um, for your wine that night. And more recently, we've gotten a lot more adept to saying, "Hey, we'll go ahead and just pay for other restaurants." Both times we've been on Royal, we've done the unlimited dining package, and I would say 100% coming from a person who in their infancy of cruising, we would refuse to pay for dining, and going all the way to the other extreme of paying for all of your dining. I would say that the unlimited dining package on Oasis class ships is 100% worth it. There's so many different dining options. Any cruise ship that has a hibachi, and I can get reservations, I will 100% pay for the whole family to eat. Um, Here, excuse me, I got a cough. Sorry about that. Um, so specialty dining, I would say, I would say it's worth a splurge. Know that you are adding extra to your bottom line of your cruise, right? Because you pay for food, and then you don't eat that food, but you pay for other food. So really, this is a priority thing. So I'll say that it probably is a want more than a need. But I want hibachi to teppanyaki, bonsai, uh, izumi, those sorts of things. That's a want for me. But um, definitely something that I would say is a want. Um, Other things that we could purchase on board, something that I purchased again before we cruise is the internet package. If you followed our channel for a while, if you follow our vlogs, I upload the vlog the day after the day of whatever it was, which means that I'm filming, editing, putting my special effects on, and then uploading all in one day, including being on vacation. Um, and it's just part of my process. So 100% I use the internet package, and that is 100% my, you know, it, that is 100% just a, it's probably really a want. And for people with families out there, um, it really depends on your kids and the ages that they are and the maturity level. Um, but for our family, the internet package has gone from a want exclusively to a to almost a need, um, especially with our younger or our older son. Um, Other things that we could purchase on board, behind the scene tour. I would love to do this experience. I would love to have that experience, but in my experience, we've never splurged for it for the behind the scene uh, tour, but something that we have purchased that was basically a tour from the ship that nobody else was going to go do um, was a tour um, to the glaciers on the from the Miracle uh, in Tracy Arm Fjord. So I would say that this is definitely a want, and really that goes back to most excursions. I would put the behind the scene tour uh, and Tracy Arm Fjord tour. All of those are excursions. Whether you're in a new port or not, it's still a excursion. So, but I would say it's definitely going to be a want. I wouldn't skip on it. If it's something that you really want, I would definitely get that experience taken and put in place. But if it's if it's not something that you are like overly like engaged in, um, then you can skip it and find something else to do. Um, in some of my other videos, I've talked about like excursions and making sure that you're comfortable, like where your comfort level is, and make sure that you're going with your comfort level. Um, so a behind the scene tour, you're not going to be in danger of any type. I do hear that there is some walking involved. So I would definitely say this would be a want. Kids club, those after hour kids club times. Um, I'm going to put this as a skip. And hear me out. My kids are my kids. Well, my youngest daughter is going to be 11 in 2 weeks. So my kids are 11, and almost 13. Um, and when they were younger, when they were younger, their bedtime was far before 10 o'clock. And now that they're a little bit older, I don't I don't see them needing to be out after 10 o'clock. So I would say that the price for the after hours really is a skip for me. I know that there are some adults, some parents that are like, oh, I want to go see this show. So in that case, like if you're looking for childcare, I guess that would be a want versus a skip. But just for the child themselves, I would say this is definitely a skip for me. And I have no problem being the parent being like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're not going to do that. We'll find other entertainment." Okay, um, but also recognize that when they do go to like the kids club, the kids camp, there are other merchandise that the cruise ship has accidentally introduced, like Build a Bear or their own characters that they really put out there for you. Um, but recognize that really is a want from the child, and having like being the parent in that situation, having that conversation: is this the thing that you want to purchase with the money that you have, or is it something that you can say? say no to. And that's really up to the parent. But I would say definitely falls under the want section. And if it's something that feels like an extra, I would definitely put that into the skip category. So ha- have you guys ever put your kids into that kids club, or there things that they're like, hey, I need to purchase, or what's your position on kids club? Go ahead and leave that in the comments down below. So I know that from our family's perspective, we always work on, before we go on the cruise, talking through what everybody wants to do. Obviously, you're going on a cruise, but making sure that your kids identify the things that are their wants versus their the things that they could or couldn't live without. On our last cruise, we identified the flow rider as a definite need to do. And we made sure to take time for it. At that time, we hadn't done enough research and didn't realize that the flow rider wasn't something that we had to purchase. And that's the cool thing about a lot of our cruise lines out there. There are a bunch of things that are included, right? You're not going to be paying um, for the water sides or the pool. The flow rider is included. Zip lining on Oasis class ships are included. Ropes courses on Carnival cruise ships are included. Um, so find those things that are also included, and make sure that you weigh the option of doing this or doing that. Um, you know, Several years ago, I told my wife, "Oh, I really want to do the bolt on the Jubilee." But I'll tell you, we got on that ship, and with the exception of like a day and a half, the thing was broken almost the entire cruise. And for the times that it wasn't broken or broke down, it was booked out. So I digress a little bit, but that goes back to me talking it through with your family. What do you want to do this cruise? Where do you want to engage in? All right. Um, do you guys have any have tos that you've done that you put on your cruise itinerary? You say, oh, I have to do this. I have to go spending money on this. Well, I am going to wrap things up here. I want to say thank you guys so much for coming and spending a little bit of your Thursday with me. Um, hopefully I talked about something that you found interesting or helpful. We are a YouTube channel all about family, travel, and cruises. So if those things are things that you're into, um, we have a bunch of content already on our channel. If you haven't given us a thumbs up yet, please consider doing that as you leave. And if you're watching this like on playback, I would love to hear comments from you. I always respond to comments. Any comments that are given to me, I'm gonna right back to our viewers. So if you have things that you heard about, or that I said that didn't seem right, or you wanted to talk a little bit about, let me know about it in the comments down below. We have in the coming week, we have content coming up about s- uh, where we're going to compare some of the dining spots on Symphony of the Seas. We have the full tour of our Circle Line cruise in New York City. Um, and then next week we have some show reviews, including Hairspray and 1977. All that's coming out before our next live. We will be live again. Cheryl will be back. So you have somebody else to listen to. It won't just be me. You have somebody else to say hey to. She'll be back next Saturday, Saturday, July 19th at 9 a.m. We would love to see you there. Thank you so much for popping in, saying hey. I hope that you have a super awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you around. All right, bye.